Hey, JC here for retirecheap.asia. I want to talk to you about an important subject because when I do teleconferences, through Skype or personal appearances to talk to potential expats or rippers, as I call them, retirees in paradise. And your paradise can be anywhere. It could actually be Latin America, Southeast Asia. It could be anywhere because remember, paradise is always between your ears. And I'm going to go into a whole series of videos about whether or not that kind of life is good for you or and how to decide if it's a good life for you. But what I want to talk about today is what's happening in Southeast Asia, in particular Thailand. And that is, it's since it became a democratic country, and some people are questioning that at this point, there's been a thriving middle-class society. Now remember, in Asian culture, there's always been a hierarchy of society, and everybody aspires to moving up the ladder. And so how does that affect us as foreigners coming to live in a country like Thailand? Well, a lot of ways, really. Most of the people, my demographics of people who watch videos about retirement and moving to another country, if you talk about acquiring material possessions, they've already been there, done that, and got that t-shirt. And it's not really a big goal anymore in their life to acquire possession. As people get older, it's really about trying to find a place where they can live comfortably on their fixed budget, fixed income, and as I say, more life for less money. And so that more life is a double-edged sword when it comes to where you're going to live and middle class in some place like Thailand. The growing, thriving middle class in Thailand, and this is happening in a number of countries. So it's happening in Russia, it's happening in China, a lot of places. But we'll specifically talk about Thailand today and how it's affecting foreigners living here. It's a double-edged sword. In some ways it's really good, in some ways it's not so good. We'll talk about the good part first. When it comes to, I've talked about when I go to record and videotape places for you to live in Thailand, I always talk about one of the criteria I go to a city, the criteria I go to is about having an infrastructure that's foot-on friendly. And that means one of the things is I like a shopping mall, and that's not because we all like shopping and acquiring material possessions anymore. That's not the case. It's that we have specific needs, and that middle-class society that is having money now, they're also having some of those same needs. So when a shopping mall, a big shopping mall opens up, it has stores that will cater to some of the needs that we have as foreigners, and those needs are also now becoming the needs of the middle class and upper middle class of Thai society. You're going to have like a Home Pro. Home Pro is sort of like Home Depot back home, which we sort of take for granted. But when it comes to, water-saving toilets and jacuzzis or specialized sinks for the kitchen, stainless sinks with drain boards and, granite countertops and just all the hardware pieces and small appliances that make life a little bit easier. All those now are available in places like Home Pro. A Top supermarket is usually one of the anchor tenants in some of these malls. What's the difference between a Top supermarket and say, or a Villa market and say a Lotus or a Big C? Lotus and Big C are sort of like big department stores that happen to have a grocery store now. Where Villa Market, Top supermarket, and some of these chains like this, Rimping is another one in Chiang Mai, they're catering to the needs of, again, that middle class and upper middle class, and happens to also be the foreigners. So you can be able to find things like pastured beef, pastured eggs, eggs with higher in omega-3, cheeses, which Thais don't really use, other dairy products, good yogurts that aren't flavored with sugared, different brands of chips, peanut butters, jellies, olive oils, all these things that foreigners need. Now Thais are aspiring to use those products as well. So, as the middle class grows, the products that make it easier for us to stay here grow as well. So that was the upside. What's the downside? Well, the downside is a number of ways, a number of things that are influenced by this. One is everybody aspires to have, it used to be everybody aspired to have a motorcycle or a motorbike. Now everybody aspires to have a car. I know people that are in debt now because they're trying to support owning a car and the insurance, everything, the maintenance that goes along with it, and they can't make ends meet with their income, but they're thriving because, again, what does that appear? It appears that they're well off, or they're moving up that social ladder. But now in places like Chiang Mai, the roads are jammed. You can't get around. Same in Pattaya, these places. People are all buying these cars. These roads were not meant for cars. And the roads are already been built. And so they can't expand the roads in some of these places because there's businesses there. And so it just becomes traffic jam. Everybody wants to have a car. Phones. Everybody wants to have the latest, greatest Samsung or iPhone. How does this affect us? Well, in a number of ways. One is everybody's rushing around because they need money. They need money because they've now got a lot of credit, and so they're buying houses, condominiums, cars, motorbikes, phones, everything on credit. What does that happen? What happens to society when you extend that kind of credit? Is people become more focused on money and trying to pay those bills, so there's more stress on society. And that laid-back, Mai attitude will change. It's changing already. You see people in certain cities rushing around. They're always in a hurry, and people feel really stressed out. And so, when it comes to relationships for foreigners, if these people that used to be, they look up to us, society-wise, that we were a higher class, that's not the case anymore. They see themselves as equals or higher because they have more money than some of the retirees coming. And now I'm not saying any of this is good or bad. I'm just explaining the situation. In relationships, if a lady has a job and she has a motorbike that's paid for and an iPhone, and she has her apartment with her flat screen TV and stuff, and a foreigner comes along, he's on a fixed budget or a fixed income, what's the upside for that person to be in a relationship with a foreigner? Foreign intercultural relationships are more difficult. Sometimes it depends on the cities. If there's not a lot of foreigners, they're looked at as maybe being from working in a bar or some kind of business that wasn't so good when they're seen with a foreigner. So this changes the availability of people in relationships as well. There's not as much leverage or incentive to be with a foreigner as there used to be. What are some of the other issues? I mean, it changes a lot of things as this middle class. I mean, just you see them setting up behind me. This is a jet ski pro tour championship coming through Cham, and even that, who would come to watch that? Why would they set this up? Well, it's to promote Yamaha and these other companies that sell these jet skis. Well, who would buy jet skis? Well, middle class, people with money. You're seeing Ducati motorbikes here now. You're seeing different brands of motorcycles that are for the middle class, upper middle class. And so more products are being sold to those people, and they're being available. So what happens for us, and why am I even bringing this up? Well, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It makes it easier in some ways to live in a country like Thailand when you have the availability and you have a lot of social interaction around events. And it makes it easier for us to find the products and things that we want. The downside is that society is changing. the focus on what people do every day. It's not just wake up and enjoy life. It's about making money and paying bills. That changes as well. So it changes our situation and that we live in as a culture. People have asked me about the political stuff that's going on, and I said if you didn't turn on the news, you wouldn't even know what's going on. But there will be social ramifications, possibly, if somebody gets into office and changes a lot of policies. And like in America, they changed banking policies and stuff back in one of the presidential administrations, which allowed them to sell a worthless credit, and all of a sudden it changed, you know, people were flipping houses trying to make money, and then all of a sudden the real estate crashed. And so that changed our society, and that's what I'm saying. They could have major policy changes that might change things, but as a whole, I've gone through the coups before, not an issue. It's just like rich or children fighting, and the parent has to step in and, you know, tell them, turn off the TV, go to bed, go to your rooms, you know, time out. That's sort of what happens. That's what the coup's about, until, you know, they calm down, and then they'll let them go again. But anyway, don't worry about that at this point. You need to worry more about the changing culture, and that's why I'm going to go off and I'm shooting other countries. I'm going to be going back to Cambodia again, because Cambodia doesn't have that thriving middle class yet. So it's sort of the way it was. Cambodia, Laos, what's another one? Vietnam to a certain extent too. They're still the way Thailand was 15, 20 years ago. So I will go and show some of those other places, and if they change some of the visa laws in some of those countries so that it'll make it easier to go to, then you'll see me doing more. But I just wanted to mention this because, you know, people come over and they think it's going to be utopia, and like I said, paradise is in between your ears, and you got to have a lot of flexibility, and I'm going to talk about that in other videos. But I just wanted to touch base with you all about, you know, if you come over, a lot of people, it used to be a big step, a big jump to come over and live in a place like Thailand. Coming to live in Thailand anymore isn't a jump, it's a little baby step. You can have almost everything you want here, as long as you're flexible in your beliefs and values, and we'll talk about that in another video. But remember, when it comes to getting more life for less money, there's a lot of options. I'll talk to you again soon. JC, out.